All right, everybody, what is going on? Needs more drums back in our city of Stay Movingsburg for the next installment of our public transport series, where we are challenging ourselves to use every single form of public transport offered in the game, like most of which I have not used before. So this has been a lot of fun for me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what else we develop and build, and how efficient and effective our forms of public transport are. So today, before we get started here, just want to show you guys a couple things real quick. Zoom out, you can see our monorails moving very efficiently, and these things are actually doing pretty well, as you saw in the last video. Well, if you didn't see the last video, I would highly recommend you go check that out. Pretty short, a little bit of a shorter video, but we did built a pretty successful monorail line, which I was is a little bit unexpected. I didn't really expect that many people to be using it, but it's actually seeing a lot of usage, and makes me happy. So anyway, I did want to show you guys this real quick. Check out this building that I found that fits so perfectly into this little space right here. This I think it's part of the skyscrapers content creator pack, and a few bucks, and it's really worth it. It really adds some really cool buildings that you can use to give your city this very unique skyline. As you can tell, I'm using a lot of buildings from that pack. I think this one, 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 and not that one. That's a vanilla one. But yeah, I mean, all the tall ones in the city are, all from that pack, and it really looks really good. So I would highly, and these two here are also from that. This is the vanilla one. This is the transport tower. But nonetheless, I would highly recommend you go pick that up. I know City Skylines 2 is coming out pretty soon, as you can see in our little some little ads here popping up in the city for the new game coming out in a couple months. But there's still plenty of life left in City Skylines 1, and I'm sure a lot of people will still be playing this one even after the release. So I would highly recommend grabbing that pack. Also, something that I haven't done in a while because I always forget, this is your friendly reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I know that we are getting close to 1,000 subscribers. That will be an awesome milestone to hit, and I'm really looking forward to getting there in the near future. But yeah, if you're enjoying this video or want to check out any other videos, just hit that subscribe button, and it will make me very happy. So I appreciate you, and thanks for coming and checking out the channel. But for today, what are we doing? I am excited for today's episode. This is something that I have been looking forward to for quite a while, because again, always wanted to put one of these in my city and never really got around to doing it. And I know that sounds terrible. You're thinking like, oh man, what are you doing in City Skylines if you're not, using all these like really common forms of public transport? But I don't know. I just kind of forget sometimes, and I, move on, start a new city or something like that. Just doesn't always work out. So today we are going to work on the metro system. And the metro system, I'm a little bit disappointed, I gotta say. In years past, I used to use the Metro Overhaul mod. If you're not familiar with that mod, it basically was a really big mod. It was out before they even implemented the Metro system in the game, so it kind of brought the Metro system to City Skylines entirely, and it allowed you to do like a lot of things. It had like rendered stations. You could do different track styles, and one of the most important things that I forgot that you could only do in that mod and not in the vanilla game, because I don't have that mod installed at the moment. But what you could do in the mod is make elevated tracks over roads, and the pillars wouldn't collide with the roads, and it was really easy to do. And so you can just like an avenue like this, for example, you can just drag a track right through the middle, and it would look nice and behave really well with the vanilla roads and everything. So turns out you can't do that in the vanilla game. I really wanted to make sort of like a Chicago-inspired elevated, rail line. We call it the L in Chicago, and it's really cool because it does sort of like this downtown loop. There's a part in the downtown where all of the lines kind of intersect, and there's this big square loop kind of in the center of the downtown, and then different lines branch out like to the airport and to other northern suburbs and stuff like that. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed when I realized that I couldn't actually do a proper elevated rail over the roads with just kind of like the vanilla assets. But obviously we could, there's some solutions around it, and we're going to explore some of those. But what I want to try to do is think about, I wanted to think about what's a way that I could still make an elevated rail line around some of these parts of the city without having to rely too much on mods. You know, I mean, one easy solution is let's just go over here and I can kind of show you kind of some of the things that I was thinking of. So solution number one is to, you know, say I have just a regular avenue like so, and I want to make an L or elevated rail line over it. You know, what I could do is just drag this up and then just use move it to just drag it over the road like that. And yeah, you know, that works really well and it's cool, but I don't know how easy it's going to be to do. And it also means that I can't really put stations here either. And that's kind of the problem, because even these stations, you know, none of these have road connections. And some of the ones that do have road connections, I think there's a few metro stations in here and like the content creator packs that do actually have road connections underneath. But this, yeah, like this one, for example, you can put a road underneath. But that's kind of not, I don't really want to start messing with putting stations on, I still wouldn't be able to put it like on the avenue or in the middle of the avenue. So I think another solution that I thought of, which, I mean, this probably exists, you know, on the YouTube somewhere from like somebody else, but what I wanted to do is something more like this. Say, instead of having the avenue, you know, we can just take two one-way roads and then drag the, gotta find it, drag the metro line over the top of these roads. Well, I guess not over the top, but in between them like this. And that way we can actually have stations go in between here. See, because you can kind of put, I know this one's like, you know, really big and wouldn't fit, but essentially you can have, you know, stations connect up to the road in the middle, and then we can kind of just have the other road go around it. So I think this is kind of the system that we're going to implement in the city right now, is this type of construction. So where I want to make the metro line, just as a general overview, obviously we're going to start, we have our central transit spot right here with a couple of connections, and there's actually an underground connection in here too for an underground metro. So I want to have at least two different metro lines. I want to have an above ground one and an underground one. And I think for the underground one, I think it's going to be, you know, pretty straightforward. Just the track goes like this under here. So we're going to bring it underneath probably just this main road, kind of have it follow here and then go to the stadium. I want it to go to the stadium. And then maybe have another one kind of branch out and go over here to the suburbs. I'd like to have something to the suburbs, or maybe this one will just kind of wrap around here and end at the suburbs. We'll have a line going there. I thought about putting one over here to this part of town, but since we already have the monorail, I'm not sure that we need that. Potentially we can have one go down to the waterfront here, or run, you know, sort of like this. I think this is like north to south. So run kind of along this like north to south pathway to give a little bit of a different way as opposed to just taking the monorail. So that's one option. And then for the above ground, what I want to do is I want to bring it kind of over this train track here, and then sort of do a loop in, you know, Chicago style fashion, kind of do a loop around this area here, this kind of second downtown, or maybe third downtown. We have like three downtowns, but I guess this is, you know, it doesn't matter. But yeah, because I was originally going to put a train station here, but I already have a train station here, so you know, I didn't end up doing that. And that way I could maybe use this part as kind of like a good connection for the metro system, so that people can get over here pretty easily. And I'm not going to bring the metro, you know, I'm not going to do an underground line like all the way out here or anything. I think that that's a little bit too expansive, and I think these are kind of getting into some of the more suburban areas where we wouldn't really expect to see a metro line anyway. So I think that would be, this is kind of the best bet for where I want my metro lines to go. Kind of not anywhere past like this highway, you know what I mean? So yeah, all this is going to be serviced by different forms of public transport, probably buses. Maybe I'll have a couple of independent tram lines over here, but yeah, mainly buses out this way. It's probably not going to be much of a, you know, we already got our trains and stuff already hooked up, so that's all good for that stuff. But yeah, with this avenue, we're gonna try to implement the what I was just talking about, the kind of the alternative way of using some one-way roads and kind of dragging the track in between. And I think another benefit to that is that we can pretty much make use of a lot of this existing space. I don't envision that we'll have to destroy too many buildings or, make the road significantly wider. I think the only time I'm going to have to do something like that is when I'm adding a station, but I kind of have an idea of where those stations are going to go already. So I think it'll work out okay. If we have to kind of rebuild a small area, I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, so I think I'm just going to jump into a bit of a time lapse and just kind of focus on the build and put on some music, and then I will talk with you guys once we get done with all of that. So stay tuned. Talk to you guys in a minute. Enjoy. All right, so just a little bit of a recap of what we've done here. We actually did quite a lot in this episode. This build took me, yeah, quite a long time. Working with these roads was not as easy as I thought, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be, a little bit pretty effective. And it's just I'm a little bit worried about some of these intersections about how the traffic flow is going to be, but we do have traffic president mod installed, so maybe I'll spend some time trying to do some either some synced up traffic lights or something like that, or if worst comes to worst, we could always maybe delete some of these cross streets and make put in a couple roundabouts, since there's kind of some weird space around this area and everything. But overall, like, I like it. I think it's something different. Again, might not be the most effective, but it definitely, I got the effect that I wanted with the the elevated metro line here. So that definitely worked out to our advantage. And yeah, so just a little recap. We have these two stations here for this downtown loop, and then they link up to this big hub here. So we have this nice little way to get people from here around this one dense downtown area. And then we also have our underground line. So if you look at the underground metro system, so as you can see, we have the one, both lines actually start with, well, we have two lines. We actually have a line going from the underground part of the hub, the transport hub, all the way into this other area. And then it makes this big loop around. So we go to this, by the school here, brings a lot of people over there. And then it connects up to the stadium, which is much needed. And then we also have a stop in over by these suburbs here, and then one more down by this residential and commercial district down here. So we have a lot, of traffic going on as a way to, a lot of ways for people to get from this downtown area all the way to this second downtown area, and even a little bit into the suburbs. And then we also have a line that just does a loop around here, so just to kind of shuttle people around this area rather than having to go all the way back to the first hub and then kind of back this way. And I also noticed we also have a stop in this part of the downtown, kind of by the stock exchange. So this is a good, not too far away, but I figured that this distance all the way to this first stop over here from here was a little bit too long, so I decided to kind of split the difference and put one here. And I think it's actually, as you can see, there's good number of people using it, so it's definitely not wasted. But yeah, so now what I want to do, just before we wrap up here, is just kind of go over some of the different vehicle variations that we have, and kind of make sure that we're having the right ones. And so this first line here, we have downtown loops A and B, and that's going to be these two lines, these two blue lines here on the elevated portion. And the reason that I have an A line and a B line is, if you notice, it kind of runs. If you have transport lines, only run like these that only run one direction. So if it starts here, it's going to run along this track on the right, and then if you're going to make a loop, it's going to run all along the same track until it links back up here, and then it'll then we'll make use of both tracks. But what it doesn't do is use both platforms of the station. So what I like to do is I know it's not always a good practice to have transport lines cross over each other. But in this case, I think, with the amount of trains that we have, it should work just fine. So we have one that uses sort of more of the right track going around this way. And then we have one that uses this other track here and comes along the opposite way on this left track here, like this. As you can see, that this guy right here is making use of the other side. So that works. It brings people around both ways. And so far, I haven't seen that they get in each other's way at all. Like nothing's happening over here where it has to stop. And even if it does, like it's no big deal. We only got 2 trains running on this right now. Excuse me. But yeah, so let's go ahead and check out some of these lines. Check out some of these trains. Make sure that we are going to get everything in order. So yeah, so in this one, this is just the vanilla metro, and I'm kind of, I like it, but it's not my favorite. I'm kind of liking. I don't think we need some of these super high capacity ones like this railroads to Japan and stuff. That's a little bit too much. But I think what we can use is something more like these cool metros here. And I like those because they kind of have a little bit more of an urban look to them. And let's see when it starts to spawn here. I like this one. Yeah, I think that looks way better than the other one. Not a huge fan of the colors on it. I kind of wish it was a little bit more plain, but that's okay. And I mean, I know we don't even need this much capacity. We don't even have this many people, traveling on this line. But so what? Doesn't hurt to have more than not enough. And for the underground, it's a shame that we actually don't get to see what's going on under there. But this one does have a lot of passengers, so I'm wondering if it makes, this one's getting pretty full, so I think it might make sense to have a little bit higher capacity one for the subway. And the stadium loop is not really seeing too much action, so we're kind of going to leave that one probably for now. But this one, maybe this 240 capacity one here might not be a bad idea. Actually, these let's try out these ones. These are a little bit less colorful, and they might work well. And they're a little bit less capacity too, because these are a little bit big. They're a little bit, the trains are a little too long. And then this one, I think we can actually go with this other kind of fancy one here, only 120, since that's just going to be a quick loop, and we'll be able to make use of that, of all that capacity without having to upgrade to a bigger train. But I mean, look at this train station getting use. I mean, this is really, really satisfying. I've never had any kind of public transit station like this get this much action. So this is great. I mean, our monorail is even pretty almost running relatively not close to capacity, but I mean, we're getting there. Definitely, about 2/3 of the way full or so. So I'm happy with that. And yeah, where's those? I just saw one leaving the station here. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. That looks a little more metro-ish, I guess. Not super colorful, just a little bit of the line designation, but that looks pretty good. For a vanilla metro line. I'm liking a lot of the new vehicles that they're adding to the game. This is really, really looking quite good, and I'm very happy with it. And as we can see here, there's no issue with crossing over, mainly because this is the first stop and this is the last stop. So it's looking very good. And yeah, we have plenty of capacity to go, even if this isn't a very active line. It's definitely bringing some people, reducing some of the traffic in this downtown area by allowing people to catch the train into the city and then take the metro into some of these more densely populated areas. Oh, great. Another year done. But yeah, this is really going to work well when we start getting, some tram and bus infrastructure around here and, just connecting everything up. So with that being said, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying the series. I got something else, that I'm thinking about doing pretty soon here in honor of a special occasion. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for the support. And remember to like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you have not done so yet. It would greatly support the channel. And yeah, getting close to 100 or 100. I wish 100,000, no, but just 1,000 subscribers. But yeah, we're getting there. So every one of you guys, each subscription counts. So thanks again for everybody who has done so already. I really appreciate it, and it gives me the motivation to keep, spending some time to make some videos like this. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. See ya.